Hey guys, Derek here with Andre, and he actually got the chance to go hands-on with Metroid Prime Federation Force, and so I thought it'd be fun to just talk with him and see what he thought about this very divisive game and whether or not it's actually any good. So, Andre, what'd you actually get to play?
So I got to play a couple levels in the game, which doesn't sound like much, but give me a little taste of what this game is actually going to be like. One of the missions was what felt like more like a straightforward mission. It's probably a better representation of how they work in the game, where I went through this like industrial type setting, probably like a factory, where there's like security bots I had to fight, a lot of narrow corridors, and I had to avoid like falling into acid baths. And then it culminates with the boss fight at the end. Whereas in the second mission, I think it was mission 16 called Slipstream, that whole thing was more of a prolonged boss fight itself, where you land on this small flying carrier thing, like a small flying platform, and it has like a communication tower, I guess, or something that you want to fix up. But it comes under fire from a pirate, or from a space pirate ship, and so your whole goal is to fight off the that assault ship, and you do that by shooting these little dispensers that drop bombs. You have to shoot the bomb. It's actually kind of like a game of blast ball right here, where you have to then shoot the ball carefully without knocking off the ledge into these cannons that then launch the bombs over at the assault ship and deal damage. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting, especially because with this whole thing is, of course, a 4-player shooter, so you can work together to have like one person like dispense a ball, another can shoot the ball along into the cannon, or you can have multiple people shoot the ball or the bombs into the cannon, and they can help. One person can like try and save the ball if it's going off a ledge, for instance, to try and get back on track. So, yeah, it was definitely interesting. Yeah, and it also gave me a better idea of how, what the setup for this game is. Because these missions do seem to be pretty short, about 10 to 15 minutes each, and a lot of it seems to come down to how you customize your character. Because before you enter a mission, actually I guess there's a couple of things to talk about here. For one, as you play through a mission, you can find these things called mods. And these are elements you can outfit your mech with to enhance them in different ways. So, for instance, there's like a weapon overhaul mod, which increases all damage by 20%. There's another one that, for instance, it's called combustion, and when you set an enemy on fire, they'll now explode when they die. So you can customize your characters in these ways, and really, it almost felt like badges in Paper Mario. It really make your character feel different and behave different from your teammates, which is cool. Now, on top of that, there's also these different equips, or like items you can equip at the very start of each mission. And what's cool about these is each player is pulling from the same pool. So it's kind of a race for what you want to equip, because if there's only a certain amount of missiles and you want to equip those missiles yourself, you better get to them before someone else takes all the missiles. And there's other items too you can equip, like shields that you can deploy, as well as shots that freeze the enemies. So yeah, I feel like I've been talking a lot, but that's the game in a nutshell. It's a 4-player co-op shooter. You can customize your character, you can equip things to go through these missions.
Now, on paper, this does actually sound like a lot of fun. And actually, looking at the Treehouse demo that they had at E3 last year, it did look like it could be fun. So I guess that's my big question. Did you have fun?
That is a good question. I'm honestly not sure. It's hard to judge from preview events sometimes with some of these games, and I feel like this might be one of them. Especially with the customization being a big factor, I didn't have much chance to play around with that and see how that might affect my play style, as well as the rewards I get, and how I felt about them. So it's kind of weird in that, in many respects, it does feel like Metroid, in others, it doesn't. For one, the way the missions are set up, like the whole game structure isn't Metroid-esque at all. For one, being a 4-player co-op shooter, of course, but even these missions being so small, there's not like a ton of exploration there. There's some, like in the first mission I played, we came across a locked door, and it tells us to go find the key, and in this case the key was literally a missile. It's called a missile key, and so you actually just shoot the key at the door, which is kind of funny. But it doesn't really feel very Metroid-esque. And then on top of that, the game's pace is slow. These characters are moving really slow through these environments, and maybe that's something you can modify with the mods, or maybe it matters less with the teamwork-based gameplay. But that's something that just stood out to me. It felt really slow and a little bit clunky. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to, how I'm going to feel about with the full game. So
yeah, it's kind of an odd choice to have your characters move so slow, because Samus is kind of a speedy character in her games. I'm still not quite 100% sure how the controls exactly work. Like, do you aim at all with the stylus or the analog nub if you have the new 3DS, or is it very much like the original Metroid Prime, where you sort of have to stop and use like hold down the R button in order to free aim and lock on that way?
Yeah, the free aiming is a little bit interesting in that after you lock onto an enemy or whatever, you can then move the actual 3DS around using the motion controls and actually change your aim that way. So that allows you to better target specific things around the thing you're locked onto. So I forget I already mentioned it, but like in the heavy or in the slipstream level where you had to shoot the bombs, you would lock onto the dispensers, and then you could actually aim down to actually shoot the switch itself to drop the bombs. So that actually worked pretty well. You can also free aim at any time, I believe, but I think just holding R as well. But again, the emphasis does seem to be on that core Metroid Prime style of controls, where this isn't your typical shooter. This is more of a Metroid paced shooter. So,
well, since you didn't get to play too much, there's really not that much to really say about it. Is there anything else that you didn't quite cover yet?
No, I think that actually really does cover it mostly. Just a few other minor details, like when you jump, you can now hover, which was kind of cool, just by holding the jump button. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the first level, so the boss fight was a little bit interesting in that it was just a generator. You had to destroy the generator. So it's not really that much of a boss fight. However, as you're destroying the generator in the middle of the level, poisonous gas would fill the room, or the lower portion of the room. And so you would have to escape to some high ground in order to get out of the gas before you could resume the battle. So I thought it was interesting. It might have dragged on a little bit too long. And then once you actually defeat the generator, though, then you have a typical Metroid-esque escape sequence where you have to get out in time. So that was kind of cool too. But I think that really covers it. So it's the kind of game I'm going to need more hands-on time to fully understand my own thoughts about this game. So
yeah, I think that's going to be a lot of people, because I am completely unsure how people are going to feel about this game at all. I mean, it's obviously they're trying to tick those Metroid boxes, but they're not, definitely they're just half ticked or anything like that. We'll have to just see more of. But you know what? I want to be able to like this game, because I think that kind of experience on the 3DS can work. Whether or not it actually does, we'll find out. But yeah, I guess we'll have to just wait and see on that. But with all that said, thank you guys, of course, for watching. And of course, stay tuned to Game Explained for more on Metroid Prime Federation Force in the future, whenever that might be, and other things gaming as well. All right, guys. Bye.